I'm changing the microphone now, so you should be able to hear better. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing. Yes, microphone has changed. What did you ask me on WhatsApp? Let me check. Hello, hello, test, test. Is it loud and clear? Is it loud and clear? Is it better? How many questions? 5 questions. 5 questions on reliability, comparison, inference, and purpose. Reliability, purpose, comparison, and inference. But actually, all these 3 relies on your inference skills. So as long as you can write me a proper inference, you can pass. You can do well. Okay? Especially for this and this and this. When you're doing comparison, you're just inferring both sources and telling me the difference in the inference. Okay? Let me talk a bit about difference. Now, difference, when you make an inference, correct, you are talking about the subject, and then you're telling me something about the subject. It means you're using an adjective, or you're just describing your conclusion about the subject. Okay? Can? And when you talk about subject, you can talk about many things. Okay? So when you do difference, you're actually telling me both are talking about the subject, but both are talking about different aspects of the subject. And these aspects can be reasons or can be total opposites. Okay? So for example, when you look at the separation, right, you can say that both sources are different about the reasons for separation. So here you have not tell me the adjective yet. You have not described the subject yet. All you did is to write a proper criteria of what is the difference. What are you comparing? You're comparing about the issue of separation, which is the overarching issue of the sources. And then you're telling me, what about the separation? It is the reasons. You're scoping your inference to the reasons for separation. Let me repeat again. You are scoping your inference to the subject, which is separation. But what about the subject? It is the reason for separation. Okay, then you give me the two topics and two inference statements. So source A, so when you do inference, you must say tells me. Then you follow the criteria that you gave. What are you inferring about? You're inferring about the reason for separation is, yes, so the difference is the reason is economic advantages. Now this is a proper inference because you're telling me about the issue, which is separation, or the subject is separation, and you're telling me what about the subject are you inferring? You are actually inferring the reason for separation. So what is your final inference for a reason for separation in the source? Is that the reason is economic advantages. Okay, this line here is very important because I see that many of you do not write this line down. You just give me the criteria. What are you inferring? The criteria means what about the issue are you inferring about? Okay, let me repeat. Criteria means what of the subject, the main subject, are you inferring about? In this case, I'm inferring about the reasons for separation. So, because now I know my scope of my inference is this, I can tell you the two inferences. First one being source A tells me the reason for separation is economic development or advantages. And then you say while or however, second source B tells me. So repeat your scope of inference again, is that the reason for separation is, now there's many things, right? Security advantages. So can you see that you have given me two very distinctive inferences, one from A and one from B. Okay, you're both inferring about the same thing, which is the reason for separation, in which A says the reason is economic, while B says the reason is security advantages. So in this sense, they are different. So you just say the evidence is blah 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 blah, while in the other source, the evidence is blah 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 blah. And that will give you your difference, and it's very standard. Okay, what is another thing that they can ask you about for difference in terms of the separation is, of course, people's reaction. Okay, it's quite standard. So here you have what are the types of reaction. There's a disappointment, and then there's one of hope, Okay, so it's quite standard for this chapter. These are the main things, the reasons for separation. Okay, another way they can look at it is who is to blame, right? Who sparked the separation, right? Who was the one in the wrong? Who was being unfair during this whole separation thing? Was it the PAP? Right? Was it the PAP or was it UMNO? Was PAP the one that was being unreasonable that sparked the separation, or was it UMNO was the one that was being unreasonable about a particular issue which sparked the separation? So these are the common things in your history curricula that we're talking about. Who sparked the separation? What are people's reaction? Right? What is the main reason for separation? All this boils down to perspective. You must understand this word, perspectives, because in history there's no one correct narrative, but there are perspectives. Perspectives make history vibrant because when you tell a story, right, there are many angles that you can tell it from. Some angles will tell the story positively, some angles will tell a story negatively, right? Some will look at it from the right side, some will look at it from the left side, but it's all talking about the same story, just that people have different perspectives, different viewpoints, and your job is to find out what are the perspectives of the source. Whose perspective is this source talking about? And what is it talking about with regards to the issue? Are you clear? Are you clear? Okay, I'm not too worried if you do not know how to do the reliability paragraph. It's okay. As long as you get the similarity correct, you get the purpose correct, and you get the inference correct, and you write an inference paragraph in your reliability answer, is good enough. Okay, that is good enough. So my hope for you all is that you can reach this level. I'm sure you can. Okay, although nobody listens in class, but actually in history it's a standard set of skills that you just need to master. Once you master these skills, the questions are all very, very standard, and you will laugh in the mid-year exam. Ha ha ha, why did this thing come out again and again and again? Because there's only so many things we can test you in history, so you will see things keep repeating themselves. So when they repeat themselves, you need to be mindful of what you have done before and improve on what you have done before, and that is how you do better than what you did previously. But if you make the same mistake, like giving me broad inferences or not giving me any inference statements in your similarity or comparison, then I got nothing to say. Yes? So this is how it works. This is how it works. Do you have any questions? I will be checking something. Give me about 3 minutes. At the same time, you may type your questions if you have any questions. while I answer some of the WhatsApp. Give me about 2 more minutes. What do you mean? How to write a proper inference statement? A proper inference statement is basically one that is not lifted. The moment you give me a lifted statement, you are wrong. Number two, it must be related to the issue, which is either the treatment of people, if you talk about Japanese occupation, or the reason for separation, or reason for merger. Okay? Or whether merger is beneficial, or whether separation was indeed necessary as an outcome. Third thing, make sure it is not a paraphrase, because you are supposed to make an educated guess and not a paraphrase. Okay? Number four, it must be backed by evidence. So make sure you write down the correct evidence. Number five, it must answer the question. If look at the subject of inference. This is very, very important. If they ask you about the PAP, don't talk about the people. If they ask you about the Japanese, don't talk about the Singaporeans. Okay, take note. What is the subject of the inference? That is how you write a proper inference question, inference answer. Okay, any more question? If not, since I think it's good enough. I think you all should be able to do the paper tomorrow. It's not that difficult. Just read carefully. Okay, just read the sources carefully. Give me specific inferences and it should be enough. Yes? So I think I'll end here. Okay, don't worry, you can watch back the video again. Okay, good night. Have a good rest.